It's been a fascinating relationship. I'll just say that.
So do you have his number in your phone? Like, could you accidentally, hey Siri, call President Trump? Could you butt dial him?
Yes.
Okay.
I hope I don't.
Hello and welcome to Hysteria. I'm Erin Ryan.
And I'm Alyssa Mastromonaco.
Alyssa, it's Halloween week.
Yes,
it
is.
As seen by our gorgeous costumes. Party on, Alyssa.
Party on.
So I was curious, have you ever done a sexy costume? We're not sexy today.
I've never been sexy.
You've never done a sexy Halloween?
The sexiest I ever got was like maybe 1999. I played a mafia widow.
Oh.
And I had there was like a black lace dress that might have been form-fitting, but that's about as sexy as I've ever gotten. What about you?
I was sexy Abe Lincoln one year.
What?
For Halloween, yeah.
What?
I was sexy Abe Lincoln. I wore fishnets and booty shorts. This would have been like in the year of our Lord 2008 or 2009. It was quite some time ago. Booty shorts and fishnets and a blazer and a button-up shirt and a little like kind of fruity little tie and then then a tall hat and I stuck on a beard around my chin, like a chin strap.
That's a look.
Yeah, it was very sexy to approximately probably one person. You're listening to Hysteria, the podcast that has some questions about Trump's agenda with the East Wing. Alyssa.
Yes, we do.
The math ain't mathin', right?
What do we think it is?
Okay, $300 million for a 90,000 square foot ballroom.
Yeah.
First of all, 90,000 square foot ballroom just sounds like a number a child came up with, because they thought it was like a big number.
Well, I guess it's like almost exactly twice the size of the White House.
The current White House.
The current White House.
They're whatever. That number doesn't make sense. $300 million does not make sense. $3,000 plus a square foot, that doesn't make sense. What's he really building?
I don't know if it's what is he really building? Like, is this like a money laundering? Like, I think this is a money laundering operation. It went from 250 million in like 2 weeks. It's up to 300 million. It's all these private donors through some weird fund. I don't know. None of it based on my many years in government, I don't see how it's possible. I don't know how it got done. I don't understand any of it.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I mean, the like fun answer is like bunker or like medical suite.
Yeah. Medical, but like, why would I mean, like it could be any of those things. There's already a bunker, and he's got Walter Reed, so I don't know unless they're putting some hyperbaric chamber, which it feels like they didn't have to destroy history and build a $300 million ballroom, which, by the way, no one will ever afford to be able to use.
Yeah,
like the reason there is not anything like this is because a 1,500 person state dinner would like bankrupt the State Department.
I mean, yeah, maybe you know what? I just got an idea. Spaceship. Elon Musk is contributing to the plans. This is just me making shit up. Elon Musk is contributing to the plans, and it is going to like Independence Day style, like just be able to lift off.
Where will it take? We don't care where it takes them, actually. Just go.
I mean, I feel like the juxtaposition of him tearing down the East Wing, which was perfectly fine, and
Totally fine.
with the promises of building a way overpriced, ridiculous ballroom that will be like gold-plated or whatever, juxtaposed with the fact that Congress has not been in session for literally weeks. They haven't done anything. They're still collecting paychecks. They still have their platinum health benefits. And meanwhile, air traffic controllers aren't getting paid. Like, there's a ton of government employees that aren't getting paid. And the Trump administration is like threatening that they won't be eligible for back pay in some circumstances. Like, I feel like if people in government are worried about like a French Revolution type "Do you hear the people sing" moment, they might want to dial back on at least one of those things. You know what I mean?
Totally agree. I mean, it's like, look, they have the opportunity. They could pass legislation that says we shouldn't be paid, right? Like during a government shutdown. They've tried a couple times and it keeps failing.
I mean, we should.
So I'd say they're not, for me, not for thee.
There should be a constitutional amendment that members of Congress do not receive any health care benefits that are better than people who are on Medicaid and Medicare. But, that's a whole other discussion. Speaking of stuff that's contributing to a what feels like a French Revolution moment, according to the USDA, SNAP benefits used by over 40 million Americans will not be distributed for November.
Yep.
Starting November 1st, SNAP will run out. The department website has language blaming Democrats in the shutdown. Hello, Hatch Act violation.
Hatch Act violation.
It's like episode 6,000. But the Trump administration declined to use a contingency fund that could have maintained the availability of a program for at least a few more weeks. Okay, They have the money.
Yep.
They are choosing not to use it to make a political point. Yep. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins, which... See, this is the future when people are naming their sons like Colt and like Gunner or whatever. We end up with agriculture secretaries named Brooke Rollins. Brooke Rollins declined the Democrat request to use the fund, saying it was reserved for emergencies like natural disasters and could not legally be used. But that's bullshit.
But it could.
That's bullshit. This is actually contrary to the plain language of the law. The administration's own lapse in funding plan and precedent set by all other presidential administrations during shutdowns, including Donald Trump the first time. So different states and local governments are stepping in to support their communities, but this is also a time if you're able to help your neighbors out through mutual aid, you should. Like here in LA, there's an organization called Homie Made, which started during the pandemic to help feed first responders, but it's now a network that helps connect food insecure people with homemade meals. This is one of the last good uses of Facebook, I'm going to say. Like the I'm in a buy nothing group for my neighborhood, and it's like, I haven't used it yet, but it's like if you want to barter or if you're like people are in need, they're like, I need a crib. Someone will be like, I'm getting rid of a crib. And that might be someplace if you're in need. But I think this is an example of a time when like hyper local activism is what's going to end up coming through for people. Alyssa, you're our resident shutdown expert.
Thank you.
What is any of this allowed? Like,
yeah, it is. So here's the bullshit about a shutdown. Presidents have a lot of discretion. So when there are like manuals. Here's your government shutdown manual. Here's sort of what has historically been done. So when we shut down in 2013, whenever it was, I looked back at the manual. Okay, here's what we normally do. And Barack Obama was like, if this is what shutdowns are, then this is what the shutdown's going to be. So like an example for people is in 2013, we closed the national parks. Why did we close them? Because the staff was furloughed. Now, Donald Trump has decided to keep the parks open. That does not mean the staff has not been furloughed. So what you have now is what happened during the first shutdown, which is that like the parks are open. No one's telling people they can't commit vandalism. There's nobody making sure things are like, working okay. And so he has the discretion to do that. And so the money exists. He could pay SNAP, but he is just choosing not to. It is his discretion, and people should know that.
Do you think this will cause any crack in MAGA support, or will it hurt Democrats that will continue to be blamed?
I mean, I think at a certain point, it all comes down to the president. Like, he's got, like, the drum. I think Democrats need to beat the drum a little bit more on this. This is his discretion. He is inflicting the pain on the most vulnerable people. That is his choice. And so, and that is a lot of MAGA. Mm-hmm. So I hope that they make that point. This is his choice.
Yeah. I just feel like this is such a racism is expensive moment because there's been some reporting that red states are going to suffer more as a result of this. And a lot of people who probably will have benefits cut off are people that voted for this president and that will probably continue to support whatever he says because they only receive information from Fox News or OAN or, whatever.
Right.
And it just, I don't know. I think that there are people who are going to say like, look, this is a bridge too far. This is ridiculous. This isn't what I voted for. I feel like there's about to be a flood of like, hillbilly safari style pieces that are like, oh, look at this family in Kentucky voted for him 3 times. And they're like, well, I didn't know this would happen. And then everybody on like social media is going to clip that part and point and laugh. And it's like, I don't know like what ends the cycle of them just being like, yeah, but it's still the immigrants' fault.
Right. Well, I think, one of the things is Trump campaigned exclusively on grievance. You're not doing well, and it's Democrats' fault, and I'm going to fix it. And I think fundamentally, if he doesn't fix anything and people get worse, I think they're going to be like, this didn't work out. This isn't good.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the Republicans are trying to make the case that it's the Democrats' fault, but I feel like Republicans are in control of all three branches of government.
Right.
The Republican president is operating like a dictator, trying to stretch his powers as far as they possibly can go. And I feel like trying to blame Democrats is sort of like if there was a car accident, the whole family got in a car accident, and like investigators were like, should we blame the baby? Should we blame the baby that was in the car? Like, the baby wasn't driving. The baby wasn't in the front seat. The baby,
Nope.
But
Baby's baby.
maybe it's the baby's fault. Not to say that Democrats are the baby, but they are kind of the federal government car. They are currently
in this car. They're the baby.
they're the baby in the car. How can Trump justify his ballrooms and bailouts while he's taking food off families' tables?
Well, this is his whole shtick, right? He's like, I'm getting it privately funded. So he tries to make this big distinction, kind of without much of a difference, but this distinction that he's like, no. Yes, I'm doing the ballroom, and the ballroom's going to be great for America, and I'm getting all of these companies to pay for it. And it's like, well, okay. But
Yeah, could the companies maybe donate that money to help people eat, or maybe pay
They
their
could.
employees more,
they could.
or stop
That's
laying
his whole-
people off?
Also, this is the other thing. How is it being built during the shutdown? This is the part I don't understand.
Yeah, that's such a good question because, okay, first of all, none of the renderings make sense. Not to go back to it, but it really feels like it's one of those things that breaks my brain where I'm like, the numbers don't make sense. The pictures don't make sense. Like nothing of the cost doesn't make sense. None of this makes any sense whatsoever. Also, the timing doesn't make sense. Are you telling me you're going to start a construction project heading into winter? A giant construction project? That's when you want to start one? I mean, not that it's impossible, but like, why not just wait until a better time when it's not going to snow?
So here's my thing. So we were talking about this a little bit the other day. He offered President Obama like $100 million back in the day to build a new ballroom. He's been obsessed with the ballroom. And I think that part of this for him is that he wanted to start it so it couldn't be stopped because it can't now. Like maybe after the midterms, like people, even Republicans might have been like, yo, bro, are we really doing this? And I think that he wants something where he cannot be erased. I think that it really comes down to something that egomaniacal, that he's like, he took down all the president's portraits that he didn't like. They're gone. So having a portrait, having his like bloody, fist pumping portrait, that could be removed. And so I think part of this is like, it's like at any cost, he will memorialize himself in one way or another.
Let me just say that there's a lot of leaders in the history of the world that have tried to do that sort of a hubristic preservation of themselves when they have a sense of their own mortality.
That's a good point.
But great empires, much greater than America, have had no problem tearing down giant monuments from leaders that they're like, ooh, we don't like that guy. The whole city of Amarna was basically like leveled in the deserts to the west of like Luxor, Thebes, because after the Amarna period in ancient Egypt, the next pharaohs were like, ooh, that was, I don't know what we were doing there. That was pretty dumb. And then it's like gone. It's basically gone. Like Hatshepsut had like monuments leveled because people who came after her were like, ooh, I didn't like her. She usurped. Anyway, whatever. I'm going like ancient Egypt nerdy. But I'm just saying, like, there have been bigger empires with more impressive buildings that have had no problem tearing shit down when they're like, ooh, we didn't like that leader. So even though I think that you're onto something by saying like he wants to live forever and he knows he's not going to. I think you're onto something, but also like, I guess maybe if he would read a book, he would learn that that's not a way to persevere. Like you actually have to
totally.
You have to do good things.
But that's the thing. His understanding of the world is kind of flat. Like, to him, this is how he is to be memorialized. And I also think that he thinks that the MAGA will go on longer than it maybe will. Mm-hmm. You know, I think that he thinks he's built something that will honor him for the rest of his life, when really, like, once people don't have money in their bank accounts, they're going to be like, fuck that guy.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, it's also like the cultiness of the MAGA movement is like, did I pronounce it correctly this time?
No, it's still MAGA.
What?
Caroline makes fun of how I pronounce MAGA, the MAGA movement. Here, I'll say it. I have MAGA.
You say it right.
Whatever. The cultiness of the movement, political movement he started, betrays the fact, shut up, that like cults don't tend to do well after their main guy goes, right?
No, ever.
Right? Like Jonestown, famously done when that was over. Jim
Charles
Jones's
Manson.
church, people were
Right.
not still like, well, let's keep on going to that church in San Francisco that he founded. No. It was over when he was gone.
Right.
I don't see, the Branch Davidians. Like they didn't really, there's not really currently Branch Davidians. So like, I don't see.
Was that David Koresh?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Branch Davidians.
Yeah. I've been going down some pretty dark rabbit holes I'm like, David Koresh, Jonestown. I guess it is spooky season, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of spooky season, let's talk about some losers in masks.
So, Erin, Trump set a goal of hiring and training 10,000 new ICE agents by the end of the year to carry out his horrific and racist deportation policies. And to incentivize new recruits, they've introduced a $50,000 signing bonus, student loan forgiveness, removing age caps, and perhaps letting standards slide altogether. The Atlantic reports that a third of new recruits did not pass the physical fitness requirements, which are as follows: 15 push-ups, 32 sit-ups, and to run 1.5 miles in less than 14 minutes 25 seconds, which is a 9.37 minute pace. Erin,
There are
listen.
children that could do that. You know what? 6-year-olds. 6-year-olds.
32 sit-ups is a problem. That one, I was like, okay, like, one, I have worked hard at my push-ups. I could do the push-ups, but I admit I've worked hard at it. But 32 sit-ups, they should be able to do that.
32 sit-ups. That's not that hard. I remember taking like the president's fitness test back before they canceled it, and now they've since uncanceled it. But like, I think that if you did 32 sit-ups, you didn't even qualify for like the bronze award. Like,
that was so many years ago. I just know that this is sad.
This is really bad. 1.5 miles in less than 14 minutes, 25 seconds. It's a 9:37 pace. I'm just going to say I've run 26 miles in a row at a pace faster than that. And I've done that 3 times.
That's very impressive.
I'm sorry. I'm not even a good marathoner. Like a halfway decent 30-year-old woman could train for like 8 months and be able to beat that for a full marathon length. Like,
it is. So I will say this was funny. Top officials described them as athletically allergic.
ooh, that's a burn.
Bit of a burn.
That's a really good burn.
The former DHS officers told NBC News that they have brought in recruits into the training programs that have failed drug tests, criminal background checks, or lack the physical and academic requirements to serve. According to the NBC reports, ICE has dismissed more than 200 recruits for failing to meet requirements after being rushed through the hiring process. I would like to just say, and presumably keeping their signing bonuses.
Wait, could we try out for ICE and then pocket the signing bonus and then like fail the open book test on purpose?
Erin, I'm going to tell you, that may be a proper scheme.
Ooh,
That would be a
hey,
proper scheme.
listeners on the hunt for a scheme. This might be a good scheme for you.
That's a good scheme because
Yeah.
here's my thing. If they were rushed through the hiring process, they got the signing bonus. You can't take the signing bonus back,
Right.
right? I mean, how do you do that? Like,
I
they're
mean,
not,
it would require a lot of like
garnishing wages.
work and like,
Right.
Yeah.
Like, they couldn't even stop paying the people they fired through Doge.
yeah, that's crazy. Also, like, I think it's very funny that they were doing student loan forgiveness and these people can't pass like open book tests. I feel like if they're
No.
doing student loan forgiveness on people who cannot pass open book tests, those schools should lose their accreditation.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, and like also something that we've talked about a lot. So I just needed to do a point of comparison. So, because it's very curious to us why, like, people in the Army and Navy and cops aren't pissed about this.
Yes.
Because here's the thing.
Why
So
are
a
these
full-
dipshits getting all this stuff?
with fewer requirements.
Yes.
So a full-time enlisted private in the Army with less than 2 years experience, these people have less than 2 years experience, make an average annual salary of about $29,000. These guys are getting a $50K signing bonus. These guys make $29,000 over the course of a year. Starting salary for the NYPD is about $60,000. The police academy is a 6-month training program, and the physical requirements include, quote, a candidate proceeds from the physical restraint simulation to a 600-foot run around a pattern of cones and then proceeds to a simulated victim rescue, including a 35-foot drag of a 176-pound mannequin. I'm just saying, if I was in the police academy, I'd be pissed.
Yeah. I mean, or if I were in the military, I'd be like, what the fuck did I
Either.
do?
It's bullshit.
Why did I go to basic? Why did I just like move my country to like fucking Fort Bragg or like some
Right.
other place that is like undesirable to live in?
Starting salary of $29,000 a
That's
year,
crazy.
when you could just get a $50,000 signing bonus and potentially just go ahead and fail the exam.
I mean, is this DEI for idiots? For idiot
It feels that way,
losers?
doesn't it?
It like
feels that way.
it does. I mean, I do feel like we should be bullying ICE. I do feel like we should be pointing out that they're like athletically allergic dummies.
Yeah.
Like, wow. I mean, come on. They should be like screwing the caps on toothpaste tubes. They shouldn't be doing any kind of law enforcement whatsoever. That's pretty crazy. And it sort of confirms what a lot of people kind of guessed, is that these people are dumb. I kind of wonder if like Looney Tunes style antics could help like flummox
Do we need
them.
an anvil, an Acme anvil?
We need or like a fake bouquet of flowers that's
Yeah.
actually like dynamite.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. We'll Wile E. Coyote them. Maybe we'll Wile E. Coyote our way out of this. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we have New York Governor Kathy Hochul. Hysteria is brought to you by IndaCloud. You ever wake up after a fun night and think, yeah, fun's canceled for today? That's me every morning, except I never have fun. IndaCloud is how you keep the vibe going without paying for it tomorrow. IndaCloud isn't just another cannabis brand. It's a fully legal online dispensary that's already moved over 10 million gummies, mountains of exotic flower, and enough pre-rolls to impress Snoop himself. Every product is tested in DEA-certified labs and shipped straight to your door. No sketchy dispensary runs, no guessing what's inside. It's federally legal THC made simple. That's why 50,000 customers already trust IndaCloud to keep their buzz hassle-free. If you've got like night anxiety, like me, where you wake up at 3, if anything wakes me up at like between 2 and 4 in the morning, I'm just not going to go back to sleep. Taking an IndaCloud gummy was a game changer. It tastes good. The high is manageable and good, and it allowed me to sleep through the night, which is a real achievement, especially when I feel like I never get a full night's sleep. If you're looking for better sleep, they've got a gummy for that. If you want a light social buzz without tipping into chaos, easy. You need something with a little more kick. That's where the Beast Mode collection comes in. Potent enough to impress seasoned pros, yet legal and predictable. And if flower's your thing, they do $70 ounces all year round. That's 28 grams if you're curious. No flash sale, no gimmicks, just an actually good deal. Whatever your vibe is, from quiet porch nights, book in hand afternoons, or weekend hang with friends, IndaCloud's got a match that's tested, trusted, and delivered right to your door. Whether you want better focus for that fall reset, deeper sleep as the days get shorter, or just a peaceful scroll before bed, this is how grown-ups take the edge off now. If you're 21 or older, go to indacloud.co. Use code HYSTERIA for 30% off your first order plus free shipping. That's indacloud.co, code HYSTERIA. 30% off, free shipping, and a better mood showing up right to your door. Take their quick little survey when you order to support the show, and thank IndaCloud for making October feel a little lighter. And as always, please enjoy responsibly. Huge thanks to IndaCloud for sponsoring today's episode. Hysteria is brought to you by Quince. Cooler days call for layers that last, and Quince is my go-to for quality essentials that feel cozy, look refined, and won't blow your budget. Think $50 Mongolian cashmere, premium denim that fits like a dream, and luxe outerwear you'll wear year after year. These are the pieces that will turn into your fall uniform. I love their cashmere. I love their lightweight cashmere long sleeve. They're great for layering. I get really like itchy, and I feel claustrophobic if my sweater is too heavy or made out of the wrong material. And Quince's cashmere really fits the bill. It keeps me warm. but I never feel like I want to like rip my clothes off because I feel like too constrained. Because Quince partners directly with top-tier ethical factories and cuts out the middlemen. They deliver luxury quality pieces at half the price of similar brands. It's the kind of wardrobe upgrade that feels smart, stylish, and effortless. Like I said, I love the cashmere. I really like their cotton sweaters. Their cotton sweaters are great for summer. Like a cool morning in the summer, pop on a cotton sweater. You're never going to like get sweaty in it. It breathes really well. It doesn't itch. But yeah, I just love everything that Quince has. Sometimes I'm on the website and I'm like, that seems crazy. I cannot believe that is that affordable. They also have really cute kids clothes, kids staples, some Oxford button downs, like little cashmere button down sweaters. The holidays are coming up. A lot of people like getting pictures taken, and Quince has great stuff for kids to wear and maybe get some sticky handprints on, and you won't freak out because it doesn't break the bank to buy it and it's washable. Find your fall staples at Quince. Go to quince.com/hysteriapod for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/hysteriapod to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/hysteriapod. With the federal government descending into authoritarianism, there's a lot of weight on governors' shoulders to protect their constituents and navigate the constantly evolving situation. Today, we're joined in studio by New York Governor Kathy Hochul. Kathy, thank you so much for joining us.
Very happy to join you again. Thank you.
Hi, Governor. So as of this recording, the government has been shut down for 30 days. How has the government shutdown impacted New Yorkers, and has it impacted your work as governor?
It's been devastating. I mean, the fact that I've had to hold rallies and encourage people to help support food banks and food pantries and put $41 million, and I'm about to add another $25 million to the coffers so people, number one, federal workers who never dreamed they'd find themselves in a line to get food to feed their families as their paychecks evaporate. We have to deal with that. Then I have 3 million New Yorkers who are going to lose their SNAP benefits literally immediately. And that's a real shock to the system. A lot of people do already live paycheck to paycheck, and not having the supplemental income or the supplemental money to be able to buy food, especially healthy food for their kids, is going to really wreak havoc in our families. And so we're doing everything we can to sort of stem the tide of this, but it's also the healthcare fight. I have New Yorkers losing healthcare. They're going to find out that their premiums are going up 40%. Literally in a matter of days, they'll come to that sticker shock when the premium arrives in the mail. So the impact has been very difficult. So as governor, I have to elevate this story. I mean, we have 7 Republicans in the state of New York. Any one of them, or even 2 of them, had the courage to go into Speaker Mike Johnson's office and say, you know what, I represent a rural area. I've got farmers that are hurting. I've got a lot of poverty in my small communities. That people are going to need their SNAP benefits and health care. I've got rural hospitals that are on the verge of collapse. Hey, can we take the foot off the gas and maybe understand that we should not let these health care premiums expire, because it's going to be a hard hit on my constituents, my voters, and I'm heading into an election next year. They need to be that blunt and do something to earn the title of a member of Congress for the U.S. House of Representatives instead of sitting there like a bunch of complacent idiots who are going along with whatever Donald Trump and Speaker Johnson want. They have a voice and they refuse to use it.
Mm-hmm. Governor, you mentioned there's an election next year. With the sort of short memory of people, in the political news cycle where it's just every day, it's something, it's something, it's something. Do you think that this is going to continue to be an issue, like the cutting off of SNAP benefits in a day or in 2 days by the time people hear this, and the rising of healthcare premiums? Do you think that people will remember that next year, or do you see kind of Republicans mechanizing to somehow voice the blame onto Democrats?
Well, they'll try to. I mean, this is what they do. It's 101 Republican disingenuous campaigns. I mean, they don't tell the truth. So we know that's coming. So whether or not a year from now will people still feel the pain and have the memory of losing health care and SNAP benefits and Head Start programs, we can remind them. That's what a campaign can do. But also, I guarantee with this administration and what they're doing to this country, there's going to even be more things that might even be just as bad or worse between now and then. I mean, we're at war with Canada. What does that mean? Okay, it means that everything from steel to aluminum, the things you use to build a house, are going to go up exponentially. Farmers in districts like Elise Stefanik's are already rebelling about the fact that the Canadians won't buy their products. So even in a place like New York, it won't take much to build the case on why they need to be thrown out of office and Democrats be elected in 2026 so we can finally have a firewall in Washington to stop what Donald Trump is doing and to at least restore some of the funding for these programs until we wait out the time, keep fighting until we have a new president. So we can't wait that long. It's all about taking back the House in 26 to start taking back this country.
Governor, how do you balance resisting some of the more egregious moves by Trump and his administration and also needing to, as a governor, work with him?
Well, it's been really interesting. And I told the president right when he was elected, I called him up, congratulated him, understanding that, 1 out of 3 New York City residents voted for him. So he did touch a nerve, I think mostly on affordability and people feeling unlistened to. So I understand that. And I said, let's work on some projects together. Let's do Penn Station. Penn Station, we're making some changes, but overall it still looks pretty bad. And it's a scary place. So why don't we bring in natural light and get everything on one level and just make it be a building that people are so proud of in New York once again. So he was interested. We're actually working on that together. But I also said, when you attack New York State, our people, or our values, I'm going to have to come after you. And I've stood up on everything from flooding our cities, especially New York, with ICE agents, the threat of bringing in the National Guard, cutting $187 million from Homeland Security money. Kristi Noem did that. And that money was funding counterterrorism efforts by the NYPD to keep our streets and our subway safe. I literally called him up and I said, Mr. President, it seems like you're defunding the police in New York, and that's not a good look for your party. And the New York Times said, Hochul challenges him defunding the police. The money was restored shortly thereafter. So there are ways we can have conversations about, is that really good for New York? Because I can appeal to him as a New Yorker. He understands and has a strong interest in New York City. And that's, I think, is a good thing for us to keep working toward areas where we can stop the bad things from happening. Like right now we have $18 billion, the largest infrastructure projects in America going on in New York City right now, the Gateway Tunnel and the 2nd Avenue subway to open up transit deserts in Harlem in the Bronx. And those are on pause now, but I need to get those back going again. So those are the areas I have to have communication, but I have no trouble fighting back and fighting back hard. It's just in my nature. It's what I do. But it's been a fascinating relationship, I'll just say that.
So do you have his number in your phone? Like, could you accidentally, hey Siri, call President Trump? And could you butt dial him?
Yes.
Okay.
I hope I don't. But I could, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That is quite a lot of power to have in your cell phone in your pocket. Let's talk a little bit more about ICE. How has New York City supported its citizens during ICE raids? And does New York law enforcement or anybody get a heads up when ICE is coming?
No, they don't tell us. We work closely with NYPD. I have my own state police force. We're very involved. I've convened the leaders of all the immigration coalitions, New York Immigration Coalition, Make the Road. We've actually sat in my office and strategize on what's going to happen when, as President Trump has threatened after the mayor's race, that he is likely to flood our streets with ICE agents and the National Guard to back that up. So we've strategized on how to really manage this, because the last thing I want to do is take the bait and let there be violence in our streets or anyone gets hurt. And I have to make sure that everyone involved understands the right to protest. I will protect our protesters' rights to protest. That's what we do. But we have to make sure we dial it back so we're not feeding into the narrative that he wants to create, so then he can justify sending in armed forces to stop it. I've seen what's happened in other cities. We're warned, and I have to work hard to make sure that doesn't happen. I'm speaking to business leaders in New York City tomorrow, telling them that we should be standing up and talking about how it is not in the financial interests of the president and others to destabilize our city by having this chaos ensue, because we're doing just fine right now. Now, standing up for those who've already had their lives turned upside down, I am speaking on that constantly and supporting with resources for legal aid and other ways to help families that have been torn apart so cruelly and so brutally. I've gone to locations where the raids have occurred, even upstate New York. We have a power bar factory. I brought the New York Times with me to put a spotlight on what happened when the raid occurred in this very Republican area. And these were all Trump supporters in this factory and in this part of the state who are stunned. Were stunned when ICE agents came and took 70 workers off the factory lines and separated them by the color of their skin in the break room. Darker skinned here, lighter skinned here. They literally, the owners of the company told me that's what happened. And now 56 are still missing, including, and I'm a mom, including 3 women who were nursing babies under the age of 1 who were taken away from them, sent to Texas, away from their babies. I mean, you're a mom, you can't be separated from a nursing baby. It's terrible for the child. So this is the cruelty that I'm pointing out, letting people know, that that is an attack on our values and our people. They come here looking for a better life, and we will help you get rid of the worst of the worst. You really do want to go after the criminals, the rapists, the murderers, the ones they let out of jail, all the things you told us you were going to do. I will help you with that. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about kids in high school and college students and someone working at a pizza place on Long Island last 25 years who's loved by the community. Just leave them alone. Leave them alone. They're part of our family.
Hysteria is brought to you by Fatty 15. I have a story time, guys. The other day I woke up and I was achy all over my body, and I thought, that must be because I'm getting old and this happens sometimes. But no, I was actually getting sick. I really would like to not be in a place where I just assume that some mornings I will wake up and ache. This is the first year of my life where I just sometimes wake up and ache. It's time for me to turn back the clock. It's time for me to actually take aging seriously and try to make it as soft a landing as possible. I'm so excited to share with you guys C15 from Fatty 15, the first emerging essential fatty acid to be discovered in more than 90 years. It's an incredible scientific breakthrough to support our long-term health and wellness, and you guessed it, healthy aging. Fatty 15 co-founder Dr. Stephanie Van Watson discovered the benefits of C15 while working with the U.S. Navy to continually improve the health and welfare of aging dolphins. Ever seen a wrinkly dolphin? I haven't. Based on over 100 studies, we now know that C15 strengthens our cells and is a key healthy aging nutrient, which helps slow biological aging at the cellular level. In fact, when our cells don't have enough C15, they become fragile and age faster. And when our cells age, our bodies age too. I get it, because we're made of cells. This eventually led to studies finding the first new nutritional deficiency in 75 years called cellular fragility syndrome, caused by a lack of the C15. As many as 1 in 3 people worldwide may have low C15 levels and cellular fragility syndrome. Fatty 15 is a science-backed, award-winning, patented 100% pure C15 supplement. It's vegan-friendly, free of flavors, allergens, and preservatives. Fatty 15 has 3 times more cellular benefits than omega-3 or fish oil. By replenishing our cells with the crucial C15 nutrient, Fatty 15 effectively repairs cells, reverses aging at the cellular level, and restores our long-term health and wellness. Fatty 15 is clinically proven to raise C15 zero levels, resulting in lower cholesterol levels, healthier liver function, improved gut microbiome health, and improved red blood cell health within 3 months. Best of all, Fatty 15 comes in a gorgeous reusable glass and bamboo jar, and refills are shipped right to your door. I gotta say, the time of me having ugly plastic jars of supplements is over. I need something that looks cute and does the job, and Fatty 15 is it. Fatty 15 is on a mission to optimize your C15 levels to help support your long-term health and wellness, especially as you age. You can get an additional 15% off their 90-day subscription starter kit by going to fatty15.com/hysteria and using code hysteria at checkout. Hysteria is brought to you by Tavala. With our next sponsor, you'll avoid the daily 5 p.m. what's for dinner question once and for all. If you love great food but hate cooking or cleaning, listen up, because this just made my weeknight meals about 10 times easier. So here's something that I really love about Tavala. They have these meals that you can order, and they're great. They're super easy. You just pop it in, especially as it gets to the busy time of year. It's so easy to just open your fridge, be like, I'm going to eat this. Put it in, push a button, it cooks, it's great. But I also love how Tavala cooks things that I never could get perfectly right in a regular oven. Tofu, a little baked tofu in a Tavala oven, incredible, great. Moist chicken breasts or parts of the chicken that you normally like find to be rubbery if you cook them for like 1 minute too long. It's just easy. This podcast is sponsored by Tavala. Tavala is a smart meal delivery service, fresh meals in a smart oven that does the cooking for you. Tavala makes it so easy. You literally, it's so space age. It comes in a little like aluminum container and it has a QR code and you just scan it and your oven is like, I know how to cook this. And it just does it. It like the exact time, the setting, the temperature, everything. There's no guesswork needed. You can save up to $300 on the Tavala Smart Oven when you order meals 6 or more times by heading to tavala.com/hysteria and using my code hysteria for a limited time. You know, the holidays are coming up and a Tavala oven is a great gift for somebody who is maybe short on time or short on space or short on both because it does a lot in a little amount of space. It boxes above its weight and the meals are chef crafted and they taste just like homemade meals that you'd make yourself without all the headache. Plus, all of the meals are made with fresh, real ingredients. For a limited time, because you are a Hysteria listener, you can save up to $300 on the Tavala Smart Oven when you order meals 6 or more times by heading to tavala.com/hysteria and use my code hysteria. That's up to $300 off when you head to tavala.com/hysteria and use promo code hysteria. One last time, that's TOVALA.com. And make sure you use my promo code hysteria for up to $300 off the Tavala Smart Oven. Remember, with Tavala, dinner is taken care of. Part of my naivete here, I've been a governor for 0 days, so I don't have any experience in this, but you know, I've been seeing in Chicago ICE agents and the havoc they're wreaking, and HSI and like, you know, all the various organizations and what they did here in LA. And I kind of wonder why local and state law enforcement don't see that and get angry, because it seems like ICE and HSI are making their jobs more difficult. Is that something that you have you've talked about in discussions with like law enforcement officers who actually are interested in keeping the peace and kind of find these like chaotic photo ops to be counterproductive?
I've actually talked to the president about this.
Okay.
When there was talk of sending in the National Guard maybe a month or so ago, he was going to do Chicago, then New York. I called and I said, you know, we have 34,000 members of the NYPD. They put their lives on the line every single day for us. And I think even some of, you know, a lot of them probably supported you, Mr. President. And we're both New Yorkers. You know, we know New York cops. They're tough. They're proud. They're out there protecting all of us. And if you send in the National Guard, you're basically insulting them and saying, I don't think you're doing your job. Mm-hmm. And New Yorkers don't take well to that. So I said, if we get into trouble, you know, I'll give you a call. If we really need help, I'll give you a call. And he said, okay. And he actually said that on television, that when he was interviewed, that he understands that I'll give him a call if I need the help. So that's where we are right now. I don't know what happens after the election that we have, where he has threatened a different dynamic, but it is insulting to the police. It is. These are hardworking people who want to be focused on fighting real criminals and not having to stand there and be involved in protests that are self-inflicted, self-induced protests, because if they weren't taking such extreme measures against people, dragging them into court, or even people who are going into the courthouse, following the law and the procedure to have a legal pathway to citizenship, and they're sitting ducks. Mm-hmm. They literally take them out of the courtrooms, and they're never seen. They're never seen again. So they've created this dynamic. If they flood the zone as they've threatened with more ICE agents and send in the National Guard, I have talked to actually some ICE agents, because I went down. They actually arrested Brad Lander, who is our city controller, and I was actually visiting Little Haiti in Brooklyn because I understood they'd had some ICE raids. I went over to support the community, and I got wind that Brad had been arrested. I went over to Federal Plaza. I didn't know where I was going exactly. I hadn't had much advanced preparation, but I went there in search of finding where he was. And I literally stayed outside the ICE doors for an hour and said, I'm not leaving until I have Brad Lander with me. And so I'm standing there, and there's a picture in the New York Times because a reporter snuck in. Me standing there next to a very large man with green clothes, and I got talking to everybody. I talked to everybody. So it turns out, like, he joined ICE after 9/11 because he wanted to protect our country, very patriotic, doing the right thing, as many, many, many New Yorkers did after that horrific event. And then there was someone else who was from Nicaragua, okay, an immigrant from Nicaragua as part of ICE. There was another individual who was from Albania. And I'm talking to him about his daughter in high school, and she's kind of giving him a hard time, and I'm a mom, and I'm kind of telling him how to cut the dog. So I'm trying to humanize them, and I'm going to say, I don't think these are the jobs they thought they would be doing either. Okay, they thought they're protecting the homeland from real threats, people that are going to do harm to all of us, not someone making pizza or sitting in a classroom at a high school. And so I can't speak for all of them. I just had a few encounters, but I think that I'm not sure a lot of them are real happy to be doing that.
Well, that's oddly encouraging to hear that whatever the
Oddly.
well, it's like, if the masked people just randomly kidnapping people at random because of the color of their skin are kind of like, do I want to be doing this job?
Well,
that's.
I even said, like, why do you got to wear the scary mask? I mean, why do you have to do that? I never saw that before.
Yeah.
And they thought that they're going to be docs and it could be threatening them and their families. But I said, but I have NYPD and my state police and all the other law enforcement around the state. They're in danger every day, and I have such respect for them for doing that. And they don't feel they need masks. So why do you? I said, you're just scaring the crap out of everybody. It's not necessary. I think that's part of what is dictated out of Washington. Create this image of fear and terrorizing people, and they're succeeding with that. It is a scary look. I saw them coming in the door. It is scary to not know what is behind that mask. And they don't even properly self-identify. I mean, I don't think this is what people were voting for last year. I think a lot of Republicans are looking at this, or people that may have crossed over. I don't think this is what they thought they were buying here. And that's where we're going to have a rebellion next year in the elections, when people are reminded of all this and the cuts that we just spoke about. And there is going to be a wave of trying to reset our country and get us back on track. And it starts with the 26 congressionals.
Governor, so earlier this month, we saw a leak of some horrible young Republican group chats in which several New Yorkers were members, some with ties to Elise Stefanik. How did you react to these chats?
It was disgusting and vile. And young Republicans, these are the leaders of the Republican Party.
Right.
And there were pictures with Elise Stefanik and accepting awards. And like, this is their farm team. So you wonder why the Republican Party of today is not at all like the Republican Party that I grew up with in New York, where I worked on Capitol Hill with Moynihan, and we had statesmen. People were actually focused on solving problems during that era. Now we have people that are having their brains contaminated online, talking to each other in these chat rooms and just feeding on each other and just trying to outdo each other who could be the most disgusting and sexist and racist and homophobic and all these other, and Islamophobic and anti-Semitic. They're horrible, horrible people doing this. And I thought it was just, at a human level, just so beyond the pale. And to have J.D. Vance, the Vice President of the United States, not condemn them, but say, yeah, it's just kind of like college guys do that and dismissive. They're in their 30s. Are they still in college? I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's nothing wrong with a 30-year-old in college. I just don't know that these people fit that description of a bunch of frat guys getting drunk and saying crazy things. This is what they do. And that is frightening. That is frightening.
So, Governor, also speaking of Stefanik, whether I'm watching New York City news or Albany news, she's going after you. It's pretty clear she's thinking of maybe running against you.
Yeah.
So what's one thing you've done as governor that you don't think enough people know about but should?
They should know that I focused on two main drivers. One is public safety. And Republicans think they own this. They are wrong. As I said, they're the ones that are defunding our police. I have spent enormous resources and time and energy to drive the crime rate down that was paralyzing our cities and our small towns for many years. And you look at our subways right now, because of the efforts that I've put in and working with the mayor and this NYPD, we now have had some of the safest months in record history, in the record books for the subway and our streets. Crime is way down. So I don't think people know how much I've focused on changing laws to make sure that we have criminals not cycling in and out of the system. We changed discovery laws so many cases are not being dismissed. I don't think people know that I've laser focused because my number one job is keeping people safe. Secondly, affordability is not something we woke up to this year. I've been focused on everything from providing free school breakfasts and lunches for every child in the state of New York. And I've had parents say, not only is it saving me money, $1,600 a year per child, but it saves time. I mean, I remember those days, getting the kids up and making up the oatmeal on the stove and trying to feed them breakfast. And I got to pack lunch and, oh, I forgot the peanut butter. I got to
so much. Why do they eat so much?
I know. So not to have to do that, people have come to me on the streets of New York and says, I now have more time in my life. Thank you. So we're taking care of families. An inflation rebate I just sent out, again, trying to put $5,000 back in families' pockets this year alone because inflation is not their fault. We collected more than we needed at the state level through the increase in sales tax revenues because of inflation. I'm writing checks up to $400 back for families this month just to say, this will help out with your bill. So child tax. So I think if you look at everything we've done, the middle class tax cut, I don't think they know that I wake up every day. How do I keep New Yorkers safer? How do I put more money back in their pockets? As well as our families. And one thing that I'm going to recommend every governor do, ban the cell phones in schools from kindergarten to 12th grade, and don't let them have it during lunch and breaks because that's when they're starting to become humans again and friends and talking to each other and developing relationships that were never happening for the last decade. When somehow, somewhere, people thought it was okay that kids could be watching TikTok dance videos instead of listening to the math teacher. Our kids are going to be smarter, more engaged, more socially aware and connected, and they'll be better employees in the future workforce when they leave this system. So I'm really proud. That just started a couple months ago. A lot of grief I put up with, a lot of opposition, but I knew this was the right thing to do for our kids, and I'm really proud of it.
I think in the future we're going to look back at giving kids cell phones and think of it kind of along the lines of giving them packs of cigarettes because it's very unhealthy.
That's
for
right.
them.
That's right.
It's very I'm an adult woman and I look at Instagram and I feel bad about myself. It's like imagine if you're 13 and your sense of self is forming and you're supposed to be learning Spanish or you're supposed to be learning history. I'm so glad you're doing that, and that'll be very beneficial to kids in New York State. Final question. A real light one. New York City's got a mayoral race coming up. How are you navigating the progressive swing in New York City with a state that is largely purple elsewhere? Like
this
how
is
are you
the light question at the end?
Yes,
I thought you were asking like my favorite cookie or something.
You could say your favorite cookie at the end. If
chocolate chip
Black
all the
and
way.
white.
Chocolate chip. Listen, I know how to manage relationships. This is not complicated for me. I view myself very much as a moderate. I'm an upstate mom from Buffalo, okay? But I've lived in the city a long time, coming back and forth for 8 years as lieutenant governor, many weeks entirely in the city, and I live there a good part of the time now. What I can do is develop a relationship with Zoran, which I believe can be productive, that we can get to a common space on affordability, which is what I think touched the nerve. People are so related to how we can build more housing to drive down the cost of rent, to actually create the opportunity of possible home ownership, which is so far out of reach for our young people today. It breaks my heart. But also universal child care. I had to leave a job I loved working for Senator Moynihan when my babies were born. I couldn't find child care. And now those babies are having their own babies, and they're struggling with childcare. So we can get to a place of universal childcare. So I'm pointing out the areas where there's commonality. But also, I'm trying to work with him to build a strong team that'll make him and the city successful. And whether it's the commissioner of police, the police commissioner that he just said he'd keep on, who's doing a phenomenal job, I think that was important. Having people that have city hall and government experience around him to help lead, that can help him. And so his focus should be on the nuts and bolts of governing, keeping the streets safe, picking up the garbage, killing a lot of those damn rats, helping with the homelessness problem, working with me on that as well, and even taking down some of the scaffolding, because you never feel like you're seeing the sky in New York with all the scaffolding. So he focuses on that. I can help him be successful, but I don't have to agree with all their policies. We disagree vehemently on many, many issues. And there's a lot of control that the governor has on tax increases or free buses, or those all come through Albany. So as an assembly member, he understands that. These are important policies to talk about in the context of the campaign, but the governor of New York will have the final say over those issues. So developing a relationship with me also is important to his success. So I'll never root against New York. New York must be wildly successful. It is our economic engine, but it's also a huge part of our identity. And I want to make sure that we're successful here and support the businesses in an environment where businesses can grow and thrive and make sure they feel welcome in New York. That's another important priority of mine.
Well, Governor Hochul, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Live in studio with your constituent piping in from your state.
Let's get together in person. Come on.
Yes, please do. And you're welcome back whenever you'd like.
Appreciate it. Thank you.